Alrighty, we are back for the penultimate day of hand reading, day 65 of 66 days in a row. We are doing both ranges today, so let's take a look for a hand here in the big blind where we have some action on both sides, me and my opponent. And so, well, yeah, a little bit of passivity there, a little bit of passivity, call, check, call, well, bet on my part, call, check, call, bet. You know, this is I'm being passive and then I'm being aggressive. We get some good information. Hopefully we get some good information on me and my opponent in order to narrow some ranges here. So I think this will be a good one. Let's see. Of course, as always, what we need is our split suit hand reading template. Help us keep track of the changes to the ranges that we're making. 878-51455. What are we here? We're in the big blind. So pretty loose and semi-aggressive, but for the most part, loose passive player. Opens up on the button. Could totally be a steal. And then we decide to call in the big blind here. Alrighty, so we got our split suit template up. Now, of course, because we are doing dual hand reading, we need both Flopzilla windows open along with Hold EQ. Now, you can see here with Hold EQ, I already have this window up top. Heroes range, King Deuce suited versus the villains range, King Deuce offsuit. Right here already tied in. Good. So because the first action was made by our villain opponent, let's give him a button stealing range is what I'm going to consider it here. Now the guy 4715 raise first in on the button at 40%, 4 out of 10. So we can give him. It doesn't look like he raises that much, but really he's on the button stealing, and it is a smaller bet. It's not a full 3 big blinds. It's a total steal, so we can give him a pretty darn wide range right here. Maybe not as far as that. Maybe he'll be limping. What does he limp? So far he's been limping 38% of the time. Wow, so the guy does like to limp a heck of a lot. So we will probably take out some of these hands that he might limp with instead of raising. Let's say he'll raise with a 10-9 and then, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's say he's raising with a 10-9, but all this other stuff he might limp and then call. So we're going to keep them out of his raising range. And it's a smaller bet. I could remove these, but I just don't know enough about the opponent to know that he's making it bigger with aces, kings, or queens. Let's give him all the suited kings down. Because it's 69, some players just like to raise that for fun. Queen 6, I'd say most of these suited hands are just going to limp and then limp call. I mean, the guy's limping so often. I mean, these ones are even questionable right here, but I'll keep them in. 9, 6, 7, 5. These are questionable as well for raising in the first place, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, let's give him this range as a min raising range on the button. So we've got 34%, 454 combos, a nice wide range from him. So in the BB, button min opens. Let's see, does the small blind call? Nope, small blind folded, so it's just us. So we just call here. So what are we calling with? Pretty sure that I can remove some of the best hands right here. I mean, for the most part, I'm 3-betting all of these hands. Occasionally 3-betting and occasionally 3-betting, but that doesn't mean I 3-bet them every. Well, no, versus the min raise, yes, I am 3-betting those every single time. That one as well. King Queen I might just call versus offsuit, might just call, but King Queen suited I like the 3-bet. I even like the 3-bet with the Ace 10 suited. And these are all value 3-bets. They're not any kind of bluffing, semi-bluffing 3-bets. If he calls, I expect him to call with worse aces, worse kings when I'm doing it with King Queen. When I'm 3-betting these, I'm expecting him to call with some of these worser. I guess worser is a word, I don't know. Worse pairs and some of these offsuit hands that I'm currently beating right here. So that's my whole value 3-betting range. I do like calling there. I'm in position. I'm sorry, I'm out of position versus a loose passive player right here. C-bet 67 folds 80%. So against aggression, he seems to be so far quite a bit honest versus aggression right here. Now, we aren't the pre-flop raiser, but this tells me that it's very likely that I can get him to fold future streets. Look, fold and c-bet in position 80% of the time. The guy's pretty flop honest, I think, for the most part right here, which might make it easier for us to bluff him off the hand post flop. Ace jack offsuit, I could see myself calling, sometimes 3-betting, but sometimes calling. Same thing here. I'll keep them in because it's possible. I don't like calling with a king 8 offsuit out of position. I mean, I really don't like calling any of these out of position. Maybe these ones. So all the standard broadways I'm calling out of position. Same thing here. I'm 3-betting there, calling those. Versus such a small raise. I mean, if you take a look at the equity I need, I only need 23% equity. Now, the queen deuce suited has, I mean, is going to win at least 25% of the time versus a very wide range, opening range here. So I can call all of those. I like the jack 8. I like the 10-7. If I'm calling 10-7, I've got to be calling jack 7 as well. I think I agree with that. But not necessarily these 6s and 5s. Yeah, not the 4, not the 6. I could call with 6-5. I won't go down that far. 8-6. Okay, this is my calling range. 31% of hands. 404 combos. So we can see now with our two ranges here, our calling range, because we removed all the nutted hands from our range, we only have 47% equity. So it's almost a chop, almost a 50-50, 47 versus 53% for the open razor, because he has all these stronger broadways as well as stronger pairs in his range. Flop comes 10-6-8, heart, spade, diamond. So on the 10-6-8 board, sure, we have two possible sets in our range. We have some straights with the 9-7, only 4 of them in our range. 9-7 suited. A decent number of 2 pairs, no over pairs to our range. Top pair, we have some pocket pairs below. Let's see what the action is. As we saw pre-flop, I'm a little passive on the flop. 46% equity on the 10 of hearts, 8 of diamonds, 6 of spades, 46, 54. So he's slightly ahead of us right now. We check, and he bets a full pot size bet. That's interesting. And we just call. So first off, what is he betting a full pot with? He could be doing it with his straights, trying to build that pot. As you can see, we have full stacks behind. You know, we started the hand with 100 big blinds, a little bit over. So he could be doing it with straights just to build that pot. He could be doing it with his sets as well, with his 2 pair. Yep, totally. With all of his over. Yeah, sure. Why not? If he could do it with all his really good hands, he could do it with all these over pairs that can expect a call from a random 10, some kind of, random 9 for a gutter, even 9 jack for an open ender. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that I would call versus his pot size bet with over pairs. So he's getting value out of me here with over pairs. Top pairs. Yep, I like them all for this bet right here. Pocket pair below. Yeah, it's a pair plus a gutter. If we have 2 overs, we might be folding. If we have an under pair, we might call, and he might be able to get value out of us. Yeah, so I think he can make this, at least on the flop. As we can see, he c-bets 67% of the time. 2 out of 3, so he likes to use his position probably to bluff and to get value out of people. So I am going to say that pocket pairs below are in there. Mid pairs now. All those random 8. So they do have overcard kickers. Ace 8, King 8, Queen 8, Jack 8, all overcard. 9-8 is a pair plus a gutter. 8-7 is a pair plus gutter. Yeah, so let's say he's doing with all weak pairs as well, or mid pairs. Now weak pairs, all these random 6s. Is he really betting? I think on one street he could make this bet, hoping that we just fold all our overcards or any kind of drawing equity that we have with such a weak hand, and he could just give up on the turn if we do decide to call. I'm not going to give him all these ace highs. It's possible that he will, but we're going to have some ace highs when we look at this stuff down here. So I'm not going to include every single ace high in his range. Open ender, totally making the bet. Gut shots. I like all these. I mean, some of them, 7-6, pocket 7s, 8-7s, they're pair plus gutters. Ace 7, King 7, they have the overcard ace or the king 9, overcard and drawing to the nut straight with the king 9. If he hits a 7, he has the nuts. Well, 9 jack beats him, sure, but he has a high straight with a 9. So where are we at here? Gut shots. I think queen jack, 2 overcards. Ace and I think all these can be making the bet. So look at that, 61% of the time he's betting right here. Gut shot plus overcard, it's still 61%. I'm not going to say just straight overcards. He might be making a smaller bet with these. And a lot of these, as you can see, were in some of these gut shots and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give him this range right here, 61% of the time. 246 combos. Now, our flop range, what am I calling his bet with? A full pot size bet, mind you. Straights, I would love the raise right here. I don't think I have a straight. Sets, I would love the raise as well. He's shown he likes his hand. A straight or a set is, well, straights are the nuts. Sets are, I mean, a really, really strong hand right here. I could be raising all of his 2 pairs and getting max value. So I don't like just calling with a set. 2 pairs now. 10-8 and 8-6. It's possible I would call those. It's not necessary to raise them. I could raise for value, totally, and expect to get value out of pocket jacks or pocket queens or kings, but I don't... those can be in my calling range here. Yeah. It's not necessary that I raise them just yet. Top pair hands. Ooh, I like all these for calls, definitely. Yep, all the random 10s. Some of them have draws, backdoor draws and stuff as well. Pocket pair below, yep, I could be calling 1 street. I am out of position, but I could be check calling and then wanting to see what he does, maybe check hitting my draw. If I have pocket 9s, I could hit a 7. But I could also be check calling right here to see what he does on the turn. It's possible. At least 1 street, I'll give myself that. Mid pairs, I don't like calling with just an 8 versus a full pot size bet out of position. But some of these mid pairs, as you can see, have some kind of a draw, backup draw as well. So I'll keep them in down there. Open-ender, totally. I don't mind the call. Gut shots, yep, I'm good with all those calling. Overcards, no. 2-card backdoor, nah, not exactly. Gut shot plus over. Okay, 41% of the time, I am making this call right here. 148 combos. So I do have a smaller range, or I do have a smaller range than he does at this point because he is betting with so many draws, and his bet, full pot size bet, kind of limits what I'm calling with here. I'm not calling with just your standard ace high crap. So, currently, as it stands now with his bet, we're still almost 50-50, 47% versus his 53% equity. What is the turn? A deuce of spades. Now this is where, when we saw that pre-flop action, this is where I wake up with some aggression. Now, just on the straight-up deuce, we have 44%. So he is still ahead of us at this point. But what happens here? How do I get aggressive? What kind of bet size do I use? 2/3, 1/2, 3/4? 1/2 exactly. And he just calls. Okay, so my donk lead like this feels like I could have just now turned a draw, and I'm just trying to make a semi-bluff to get him off. This deuce isn't a scary hand, so I could have 2 pair that I just passively played the flop, and now I'm getting aggressive on the turn, maybe making a bet, hoping that he comes over the top with a raise. I did take sets out of my range, so it's a shame. I would love it if I do have sets in my range right here to bet. He raises, I re-raise, and we just get it in with my set of 8s or 6s. But because I removed them on the flop, I can't have them anymore. What a shame. But let's see here. And it makes sense, though. I mean, I would have raised with the nuts or the near nuts, straights and sets on that flop. I would have loved to check raise there. So I am donk leading. What am I donk leading? Straights don't have any. Sets don't have any. 2 pair. The 10-8 and 8-6. Yeah, I like it because maybe I don't want him to check behind. Suddenly a second spade hit the board. If he had 10x of spades, I don't want him to just check behind and see a free river spade. Or if he has a 7, I don't want him to see a free river 9 or something like that. So maybe that's what I'm doing. I have a value hand, and I am betting so that he can't check behind and just see the free river. Top pair hands. What, 10-7, 10-9, Jack 10, Queen 10, King 10. Yeah, all the random 10s. I like that. I like all those for betting. just charging him because he could have been bluffing on that flop anyway with 2 overcards and stuff. If I do have a random 10 or even a random 8, I could be betting right now just to charge him to see that, to catch that river overcard. Pocket pair or top pair, pocket pair below. 9s. I kind of don't like waking up with a bet right here. I would, if I'm going to bet right here, I would have much rather preferred a check raise bluff on the flop. But, you know, I could have made it with the idea that depending on what the turn comes, if it's not that scary of a card, I'm going to lead out to try to bluff. It's possible. I do have 9s in my range, bluffing range right here. Mid pairs, random 8s. Well, those are going to be gut shots. I might include them down there. Weak pair, no. Ace high, no. Okay. So flush draws, I totally like all those for betting. No flush draw, nah. Open ender, yep, I like them for betting right here. Just making that semi bluff, charging my own price. Maybe I'm thinking that he'll bet $2.20, 2/3 pot, in order to charge me to draw to the river. Putting this out is a bluff / blocking bet, so I'm setting my own price, or maybe trying to set my own price to see the river with a bluff, or with a draw, I should say, semi-bluff. So open-ender, yes, gut shots. I don't like doing this with gut shots. If I'm going to bluff, I like it. Well, I mean, I guess it could just be a bluff, setting my own price, like I said. Why not? Overcards, I don't think I would do it with the queen jack. Well, queen jack and jack 10, those are gut shots. That's part of that anyway, so. Wow, there's no way. There's no way I'm donk leading 100% on my flop range. That's wrong. 2 pair, top pair, pocket pair below. Oh, I think it's because I included all these gut shots. What gut shots am I not going to donk lead? I think I would just donk lead my strongest gut shots that have some kind of a backup equity. Overcard ace, overcard king, the queen jack with the overcards as well, ace 9. Ace, let's say the 7s. Let's say I am not doing it with any of these 7s. The 9-8 has a pair plus the high end, because I've got the 9. It's the high end of the gut shot, as opposed to a 7. If a 9 hits, you know, queen jack has me beat. So really, I don't want to include those in. So yeah, we're going to limit that. 105 combo is good. So it's not 100% of my flop range. I like that a whole lot more. It makes a bit more sense. I'm not donk leading 100% of the time here. 71%, 105 combos. Now, what is he just calling with versus my half pot bet? Oh, let's set. Okay, good. Made hand a straight. Is he just calling? No way. He's raising. Sets, no way. He's raising. 2 pair. He could play those passively right there. Just have showdown value, hoping for full house, and then he gets active. It's possible. Top pair. I'm sorry, over pair to... Man, now that I donk lead, are these betting for value on the flop and just calling behind because they're scared? Or are they going to raise and put me to the test? I mean, if he's calling 2 pairs, I guess he's calling his over pairs as well. Yeah, I guess he can call his over pairs. It just seems like over paired want to... 2 pair would want to raise and charge me. He doesn't have 2 pair or over pairs now that I think about it. I'm sorry, going back and forth. That's what often happens is you're hand reading and you're thinking through this stuff. You know, 2 pairs make sense to raise here. That deuce just made the board a little bit more wet. And if he thought he was going for value on the flop with the 10-8 and 8-6, he would raise here for extra value, not let me set my price to see the river. And overpair, the same thing right here. I mean, is he going to be aggressive pre-flop and on the flop and then suddenly get passive on the turn when the deuce shouldn't scare him at all? No, I think he's raising overpairs. Now, top pairs, they're not as strong as an overpair or as strong as a 2 pair, so those could just be calling, I think. Pocket pair below, totally just calling. It's a pocket pair plus a gutter. Mid pairs, not believing me, not wanting to give up with his 8. A lot of those 8s have overcards, or they are some kind of a... Actually, all of them are a pair plus an overcard or plus a gut shot. So I think all of those are making the... Whoops. Weak pairs, no, let's not say those. Flush draws are totally calling. Open ender, totally calling. They don't have to raise. Are those random 7s? Yeah, I mean, he is, in general, just a passive guy. All those random 7s for the low-end gutters could be making the call here. Yep, so let's say this is his range. 69% of hands, 168 combos. So he still has a slightly wider range than us, but we narrowed our range by donk leading right here to 105. He's got 168 combos. Now with this, ooh, look at that. Now we are the favorite with the way that we played the hand because we're only betting with pocket 9s or greater, and then some decent draws down here. And we eliminated some of those weaker gut shot draws. So yeah, we have 54% equity. Things are looking good for us. We are out of position. That's a bummer, but things are still looking good. 4 of Spaderinos here. So on the 4 spades, we have 53% equity. Loving it. That doesn't mean we can automatically just be betting for value all the time. I mean, it's pretty close to a 50-50 chop right now. With $6.60 in the pot, $23 behind, effective. We bet a half pot again. So if I was bluffing that turn and he called, it feels to me like I have a value hand. I want him to call right here. I mean, if I was bluffing and then the 4 spades doesn't help me at all, like let's say I had the Jack 9, not spades, just a Jack 9 open-ender. I don't think I'd be barreling this one right here. I think I'm check folding. I mean, this guy is so loose passive. He's kind of a calling station. Sure, he is flop honest, but post-flop maybe... Oh, let's take a look here, actually. His went to showdown. Oh, it's only 19%. He doesn't get a showdown that often. He's actually pretty honest post-flop. So if we're betting, we should just be betting for value right here. Almost strictly for value. Because... Oh, no. I'm thinking backwards. I apologize. Wrong one. He folds quite often. So we can be betting for value or betting as a bluff right here. Yeah, it's possible. I was thinking backwards in my head. I apologize for that. So what are we betting just half pot here? Some of our bluffs as well as some of our, maybe some blocking bluffs as well. Like with, all these, the ace 10, king 10, queen 10. Maybe if it's an ace, the king of spades, the queen of spades, that kind of stuff. So what are we betting right here? We don't have any straight flushes. We're totally betting our flushes. All those ace high, king, queen, jack, 9, 10 high. Sweet. We don't have any straights. 2 pairs. I like the bet right here. And probably, I meant to keep it clicked. Probably betting and then folding if he does decide to shove or re-raise over the top because of the 3 flush that came on the turn and river. Top pairs for half pot. I'm often just check calling hands like that. Top pair with a weak kicker. Queen 10 maybe. Check calling. Those are possibly in my betting range occasionally. Depends on what I think he has at the time. Because he played the turn passively. I could think to myself that the spade doesn't help him. Yeah, okay. I'm good. I'll just remove that weaker, the undercard kicker right there. Pocket pairs below. He does fold quite a bit, and that 3rd spade could scare him. Mid pair, ace high, I could be doing it. And then not the no-made hand exactly. Yeah, let's give myself this. So we have some bluffs in our range right here. As you can see, we have some ace highs, some mid pairs, which basically, if I'm betting right here, it's maybe just a 9-8. I don't even like that as a bet, actually, come to think of it. I'll take that away. Pocket pairs below, I like that as a bet right there. Yep. Getting value out of maybe some random ace that doesn't believe me, or out of an 8. That feels like it feels like I should just try to get to showdown with pocket 9s, though. And this guy is so honest post-flop, he'd just be checking. I'm going to take that out, actually. Let's go with that right there. So we're betting for value, top pair or better, and we're bluffing our ace highs is how I'm treating this right here. Yeah, I like that. 71 combos, 67% of the prior street. 71 combos. Great. So, oh wait, what happens exactly here? We bet, and he calls. Okay, so what is he calling us with? Well, at this point, so you can see with our betting range right here, we actually have 70% equity. So it's a very good bet. 70% of the time we're winning. The other 30% we're losing, but it's very possible that he's folding part of that 30% of the time. So maybe if he's folding 50% here, we're winning 70% of the time versus his range. And when we're not winning, he's folding 50%. We could just estimate. So really, we're winning here 85% of the time. 70% because of the strength of our hand, and 15 additional percent because he's folding half of the time that we're actually beat. So this is a really good bet. I really like it. We got some bluffs mixed in with our value bets here. He does decide to call, so what is actually calling us? What are we getting value out of? Oh, I see. Yeah. Let's see. Flushes. Well, there's no way. Call. Call with all these weak flushes. Call. Queen high, calling. Now king high, queen high might even raise, but kings, I'm going to say that king high flushes are raising here. I see no reason for them to just call. Well, especially the nut flushes, those have to raise. He's not going to put us on a 3-5 for a straight flush that's going to beat him, right? So he's got to raise with the ace high, maybe possibly with the second nut flush. So we'll keep those, or we'll limit those a little bit. Top pair hands, 10-9, jack, queen, 10, ace, king, ace. Yeah, he's calling with all those. Pocket pairs below, if he doesn't believe us the whole way, it's possible. He could call us with some of these hands here. Mid pairs, I think those are just folding on the 3 flush board. Nines are probably folding, but it's possible that he can find a call here. Possible. But all this other stuff I'm going to say is folding right here. So as it stands, he has, oh wow, his calling range now, because we have some bluffs in our range and he only has pairs or better, he actually has 52% equity now as this range. But as you can see, before we narrowed it down, that was a good river bet based on his turn range getting to the river. So let's see what ends up happening. Jack 10 suited for flop top pair, rivered flush. I love it. I'm so happy he rivered the flush. And he had the Jack 10 suited as well, but no flush for him. So Jack 10 suited is in our range, and Jack 10 suited is in his range as well. Great. So it worked out. We narrowed the ranges exactly. We had the flush on the river. We bet half pot to get value, and we did get value out of a top pair hand with a weaker kicker. So that was a great hand. I love it. Some good hand reading right there. We narrowed his range properly, narrowed mine. Feel pretty good about that. Got some value out of Damstum 10. Sweet. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you very much for watching this penultimate day of hand reading. Come back tomorrow for day 66 of 66, where we finish this sucker out. Thank you very much. Take care.